everyone, what is up? Welcome to Fixin' It Together. So today's topic is going to be all about Etsy. This was a request by a member, so I'm going to show you what I know about Etsy, how I think it works, all of that stuff. And again, remember that these are my personal opinions. This does not mean that everybody's going to have the same experience. I certainly do not know it all. And what you may find that works for me doesn't work for you, and vice versa. So definitely, when you go to set up your Etsy shop, just take everything into consideration. Consider the products that you are going to be listing, all of that good stuff, because right now I'm selling candles on my Etsy store. So if you're selling something completely different, then a lot of the things that I talk about might not apply to you. So just make sure that you take everything into consideration. And of course, always do your research when it comes to doing something like this. There's a lot of information out there, and just see what works best for you. Like I said, I'm just going to give you my opinion, how I'm using it right now, and I'm still a beginner. There's still so much that I do not know about Etsy. And truth be told, I still have to research a lot of stuff when I go to do something. There's still a lot of features that I am not familiar with, or don't know how to do. So yeah, just make sure, take my advice with a grain of salt. I'm going to give you good advice. I'm not going to steer anybody wrong, but just remember, when it comes to your own shop, just, do the research and make sure that you find what fits for you. So with that being said, I'm going to be going back and forth. I'm going to kind of show you some stuff that I have on my screen, and all of that. I'll introduce you to my shop. I'll show you the back end of Etsy, just how it looks. And then you can decide whether you want Etsy or to just open up your own website and all of that fun stuff. With that being said, so I do own my own website. I actually own www.fixinitupwithsandra.com. Now I am able to list my products onto my own website. However, when I started when I took over, when I bought my website, I guess you could say, or whatever, I went through Squarespace, which I think is a really good platform for me. It's kind of like the beginner's kind of platform for starting your own website, and it's pretty easy to use. I'm not computer savvy whatsoever, so that's why when I go to do the screen recording, there might be a few errors, but I'll let you know where those are at. But it's something that even I'm able to somewhat navigate. I still have to pop onto YouTube to kind of be like, okay, how do I do this? And truth be told, life has just, it's funny. They say when you plan, God laughs, because there are so many things that I actually have planned, that I planned to do, that have just not happened in the most glorious ways. So I actually planned to have had my products on my own website and not have to use something like Etsy, because there's no fees. I do pay a yearly, I guess you can say, subscription or fee or whatever, for my website, which is about $280 every August. That's when I started it. And again, this is where I wanted all of my products to eventually go over there. It's a blog website right now. Like, all you're going to find on my website is a bunch of blogs that I wrote way back when, before, all of a sudden that I'm taking on a store, and then I'm doing YouTube and all of these other things that kept coming up. So I found that Etsy would be just the easiest platform to jump onto. And yes, they do take fees. And so you have to consider that when pricing your products. So I jumped onto Etsy. I did watch a couple of YouTube tutorials, and I can actually go back. I'll put it in the description box of the YouTube tutorials that I watched that kind of gave me more. It gave me a lot of information. I feel that they were well-seasoned Etsy users. And so I will definitely give you that link. But overall, I'm not super impressed with Etsy. simply because I don't like, and again, this is definitely my errors too. I don't spend all the time that I should on Etsy, and my storefront has been more successful by a lot than my Etsy store. But if you really, I think wherever you put your energy, you're definitely going to get that reciprocated back in, back to you. So I started my Etsy shop back in August, and then, all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I'm going to open up a store, and then, YouTube, and so many things in between. But I'm slowly starting to really up my game. And so I'm starting to see results with that. With that being said, let me go ahead and show you. I'm just going to do like an overall view. And I think I'm going to split this video up into a few parts, because it seems like there's just so much information, and I don't want to make this just like a long, drawn out kind of lecture video. I want to keep this fun and entertaining. So I think we're going to do this in a couple of parts. That way, if you have any questions in between, I'm able to answer them. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on to my computer so I can just show you what my shop looks like and just kind of give you a brief explanation of what you're seeing, okay? Okay, so I was gonna do a screen recording, but this is just an easier way to do it. The audio wasn't very good, but here is the front of my Etsy store. So this is what I see when I go to my Etsy shop to do any kind of work. Now, does it cost to do Etsy? Yes. It costs 20 cents to list any kind of an item, and Etsy does take 5% of your sales. So those are the two fees that you will have. And then of course, if you have any advertising fees and whatnot, that will also be, I guess you can say deducted or whatnot, but be deducted. So when you go to do a listing, let's go into my listings right here. So here's the listings, and right up here, let's see if I can get the camera to kind of come up just a hair. You're gonna go up to the very corner and you're gonna do an add a listing. We'll just click on that just to do it and kind of show you what a blank listing looks like. So here's all of the stuff that you would need to fill out. As you can see, it kind of guides you along. So you would put your photos in here, and you want as many photos of whatever it is that you are selling from all kinds of angles in here. It does make a difference for sure. If you feel comfortable, include a video. From what it says, that you can products with videos are much more apt to be seen. So like right here, it kind of gives you like little tips and tricks as you go along. Right here is where you would write out your title. Now, here is where you want to be as descriptive, as specific as possible. You only get so many, words, so you want to really use exactly what it is. So if you're like making, a deco mesh wreath, you want to put, 4th of July deco mesh or poly burlap wreath with ribbon. You want to be very, very descriptive. And then right here where you see like who made it, you have a drop down box, and it kind of guides you through here. And then it's like, what is it? And it's a finished product. And then when do you make it? You have the years to select from. So with Etsy, you cannot resell on Etsy. You have to either have it as a handmade item, or it has to be somewhat of a vintage item. Now, I don't know the exact year for those who are like, well, I might have some like antiques or something like that I might want to sell on here. Double check on the year. Like it has to be at least, I think 30 years or older or something like that in order to sell on here. But you can't just like buy from a wholesale, and then sell something brand new. It has to be, for the most part, I think like so many percentage handmade. So here in the category, you would type out what it is. So like I have container candles, and then it'll give you like all of these, you know, options right here. So it does help you along the way, which is really awesome for those who, like I said, this is why I decided to go with Etsy as opposed to my own website at first, because I just wanted a little bit of help with how do I list a product, you know? And so here's where your renewal options are at. So you can have this automatic. Now it automatically lists your item for 4 months, and it's 20 cents. And I know some people are like, oh, that's really cheap. It just depends on how many listings you have. You know, you just have to remember, you know, you do want to have, you want your shop to be pretty full of listings. So if you upload, you know, like 70 listings, which is very possible to do, you just have to remember, okay, it's actually costing me, you know, what, so what is that? What, $14 or something like that a month? I hope that was right. But you can also choose to manually renew expired listings yourself. And I'll show you where you can find like your expired listings. I prefer to do manual because sometimes when a fragrance sells out or expires, when it expires, I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that one again. So right now, I like to just manually redo it unless it's like a product that I know time and time again I'll be making. So here's where it's, you know, you choose the type, like is it a physical, tangible item, or is it like a file or something that somebody can download? And then here is your description box. Here is where you also want to be very descriptive and what your item is. You want to give them all of the you know, like the weight, the height, the texture, the smells, anything that you think, even if you're thinking like, well, they'll automatically know that. That's not true. You 100% want to put all of that information in here. Like when I talk about my candles, I'm like, you know, this is the kind of wax it is. This is what kind of wick it has. This is the kind of container that it's in. Here's how long it burns for. I use this quality fragrance, you know, fragrance oil. Here's the descriptive notes of the candle. Anything I could possibly think of, the shipping information, everything. And if you're like, well, I just still am completely stuck, go on to Etsy yourself and type in something that is very similar to yours, and then just do a little homework. I went on it like a few candle shops on Etsy and was like, okay, what are they putting in there? And then of course, do not plagiarize, do not steal somebody's work, but you know, take that, like look at that information and then create your own, I guess, description. You know, even if you are like very loosely basing it off of what somebody else, but just don't take their words, just create your own and just get some ideas. And that there's no harm in doing that. And that's what I definitely do. I do my research. Here's where you can add your sections if you want. I have a bunch of sections and you can add as you go. See right here, you can add. And then tags. So you want to have as many tags. Again, when it comes to wreaths, put, you know, a wreath, you know, home decor, door hanging, oh my gosh, what else? Deco mesh, whatever it is, whatever, there's a holiday, just get as descriptive as you want. You can do up to 13 tags, and I highly recommend that you do all 13. Write out your materials right here, and then pricing. Okay, now here's where this is where you need to be smart about your pricing. Yes, you can definitely price your items too high where you're never going to sell your item. If you price your product way too low, you're never going to make enough to get ahead. So you have to be very, I guess you can say the word methodical when it comes to your pricing. Again, make sure that you are definitely pricing what your materials have cost you, okay? If you have a high cost for materials, then figure out where you can maybe buy it cheaper, even if you have to buy in bulk. Just figure that out, but never go below what it actually cost to create your product. Remember that Etsy is taking 5%. So if you're like, well, I need to make this much money, remember that you want to make sure that you have that little cushion where Etsy takes 5%. There is a 20-cent listing fee. I do not ship through Etsy. I ship through Pirate Ship, which is a fantastic website to use, and it's definitely discounted. I print my own labels. It's amazing. I love it. So when I do my pricing for my candles, I include the price for shipping in my candles, and I offer free shipping. I just think that when people are like, oh yeah, I want all these things, and then they get to the checkout, and then they're like, wait, what? It's this for shipping? Then a lot of people are like, never mind. And then they'll exit their cart. So if I include the price in the shipping, some people are like, well, okay, well, they know what they're spending. They know they're spending the $31. They're not going to get to the checkout and have some ridiculous checkout fee, or shipping fee. They know what they're getting up front. So, that is one thing that I can tell you that I see as a plus, is definitely, including the shipping into your cost. And you're able to figure out what the shipping is on Pirate Ship. You can do get a quote, and then, have your product, weigh your product out, measure it, all that good stuff. I will do a Pirate Ship tutorial right after this. And you'll be able to have that amount that you will be charging. So again, include that in here, right here. How many do you have? Do you have a SKU? Do you do variations? At this point in time, I do not have variations. This is where you can add, I do multiple sizes of the same fragrance. Instead of offering the add variations where you can save your money, instead of listing a small candle for 20 cents and then the large candle for 20 cents and then the medium-sized candle for 20 cents, having its own listing, you can just add all of the variations right here under one listing, which is only one 20-cent fee. However, for me personally, I want people to see the different listings. I want people to see the different containers. I want them to see all, so right now I am paying for the individual listings of my wax melts, that it's in the same fragrance, my small containers, and then I'll be adding the medium-sized ones here soon. But they're all going to have their own listing, just because I don't want to lump them together and then people not realize that they can choose different sizes and whatnot. Yes, it would be in the description box, but sometimes people are just more visual. So that's why I went ahead and just did individual listings for each one of my products instead of adding variations. Here's where you can also put, if you're doing t-shirts and you want to do, you're like, I'm not going to do the same t-shirt for, the small, medium, large, all that. Here's where you could do something like that. You can just add variations where you can add different sizes and stuff like that. But for something that I'm doing with my candles, I just wanted to have each size have its own individual listing until my shop is more established, and then I can just, kind of merge them together, and then people know that they can get different sizes. I hope that makes sense. So here's where, if you offer personalization, here is where you can do your shipping. When I started this, I accidentally did these two when you just need one. But because I don't ship through Etsy, to me, this is not a really big deal. This is if I did ship through them. They just want to know where you would ship to, what's your shipping time frame, where you're shipping from, all of that stuff. And so these are basically the same, but I just created two, and I just haven't fixed it. So if that happens to you, don't worry, especially if you are not using Etsy for shipping. Now, here is where you would put your weight of your product, packaged and all, okay? Here's where you would enter the weight of what it is, and then the length of your package when packed. So I already have some stuff in here that's pre-saved, and you can just enter it in here, and then if you're making the same product over and over, it'll have that information saved in here. That is it when it comes to doing a listing, and then you would just hit publish or save as a draft if you're still working on it. That is what a new listing form looks like right here. So as you can see, it kind of like guides you through it right here. You don't have to have it all figured out, because you can always go back to your listings, which I do a million times over. You can, let me pull up one. Okay, so this in particular, this is one of my most popular fragrances. So California Shores. So this is where I have redone photos a million times, because as I've learned, photos are a big deal, okay? And so I have, retaken photos, and you can constantly change your photos. You can add more photos. Again, I definitely want to get into adding videos. I just haven't done that yet. But you want to have as many photos of your product as possible. You can move them around, but you want to have clear, good photos of your product. So here's where, I have these 3 right here. And I think I'm going to be adding, yes, I am adding color. So I might add another photo right here, which shows it, these are white, that it's now available in the color. I'm going to be doing blue, so it'll be available in blue. So that's probably where I might add that one, move them around, whatnot. This is where you're going to want to make sure that your product is very, very, what's the word? I want to say, like, they know what they're getting, okay? And here is where I've edited a million times over what my product is. And here, like, I don't have a primary color yet. Here's like where I put the soy, because once it realizes what you are making, because it knows it right here, so then it'll give you more options, like the wax type, soy, the scent is musk, number of wicks, 1, the wick material, cotton, where can somebody use this candle. So when you put in your product, it'll start popping up all these different more options, and you want to use every single option it gives you if it applies to you, because this helps people find your product more. All right. And let's see, this one's on automatic. Here is where I edit my description. And again, nothing's set in stone. If you're like, wait a minute, I forgot to add something, you can go back in and re-edit this as many times as you want. And there is no fee to edit at all. Here's where I put all of my tags. As you can see, I still have 2 left. If you need idea for tags, you can click on this. Here's where I put my ingredients, how many I have, and the price. And so as you can see, it's pretty easy to fill out. And I say that very loosely because this took me a lot of time, and it took a lot of researching, but this is a listing right here. Okay. So this is like the basic, this is just even like, and you can get a bunch of drafts set up. Like, you don't publish anything and get, 10, 15, whatever you want ready, and then launch your store, with 15 products. So you don't have to do a product at a time. You can take your time, create your store, go slow, do some research. But this is how you do a listing right here. Okay. And of course, I know this is a lot of information that I'm throwing at you at once. That is why I'm going to do this in parts, because I just think there's just so much for you to see and take in when it comes to, if you're completely brand new to the Etsy thing. So here's where you would do a listing. And of course, you want as many listings in your shop as possible. You want your shop to have a bunch of stuff in there, and I know that's kind of hard when you're making reads or whatever, whatever else when you're starting out. And that's why, you can just keep adding to this. This is why I like Etsy right now. It's just, as you can see, I have 57 active listings. I have 2 that are expired, and then 46 that are inactive. And those are basically like my holiday fragrances and whatnot. But you can always come back through and re-edit. And then once your 4 months is up, you have the option to, renew your listing, or go ahead and just, let it stay expired. Now, you can make your listing inactive, which means that if I had this right here and I paid for it for 4 months, but it sold out in a month, and I still have 3 months of my listing still, I still have 3 months left of it being active, it becomes inactive. So you can reactivate it at any time, and there's no extra fee. Does that make sense? It can become inactive, like if you were to sell out of it or whatever, and you can reactivate it if you choose to. So like if you sold one product and then you only had one of it and you're like, well, I think I'm gonna make another one exactly like it, then this just becomes inactive. And then when you get that other product that's exactly like it, then just, reactivate it. I really hope that I'm making sense with that. Let's see. And when it comes to listings, so here's the thing that I learned. When you are selling the same product over and over, as you can see, I sell wax melts. I don't always want to do a brand new, especially because some of this information is the same for each wax melt listing. I don't want to do the same thing over and over and over. You can copy your listing. If I wanted to do another wax melt, change out the photos to what it is. And it says right here, this is a copy right here. So you can change out your photos to the new photo, to the new listing. Go down here, change the name right here, because all this right here is going to stay the same. So I always I change out this information, but all of this is still the same, but I choose my scent. My description, I go in here and I change out all of this, but again, all of this is still the same. So, and then change out your tags, but that's another way to save you time. If you are basically making the same product, but with different variations, you can just copy your listings, which has saved me a ton of time. And truth be told, I just found out about that probably a month ago. And so I was like, wait a minute here. I have been taking the long way around when I could just copy this. So that's how I do my listings. Are there any questions? Is this where people start raising their hands? So like I said, that's a lot of information when it comes to listings. There's so much to Etsy that that you will find out by doing it. Like I said, I didn't even know about the copy and paste, listings until a month ago. And I've had this since August, only because I kept doing my research and whatnot. I wanted to show you that's how you do a listing. Now I know you're going to be like, but I also want to know this. I'm going to keep doing these videos for you because I want people to really understand Etsy, at least up until the point to what I know. And I'm constantly researching it, as you may know, because I have my Etsy store. So I'm always trying to figure out okay, what makes it work? Now, I do want to say that if you are not getting sales and you're like, I don't understand what's happening, I've got all of these descriptive words, I've got everything. Sometimes it just, I guess I hate to say that the market could be flooded, but that could be a possibility. There could be there's a bunch of candle makers that happened during the pandemic. So, I realized that my shop, isn't going to be booming with sales when it comes to candles, which is okay, but you can pay for advertising. And I know some people are like, but I just don't have the money to do that. That's okay. Get on your social media and start sharing the links to your Etsy store. It's completely free to do that. You know, just get the word out however you can free. You are able to offer sales on here, and I'll go through that in my next video, because I know I'm throwing a bunch of stuff at you right now. And I know for the person that has never even, like, they're like, Etsy, you're just like, my mind is blown. I have questions, because I know that never teaching like this before, I have probably missed something that you're like, but I need to know this. So that's why you're going to be able to ask questions in the comments below. I definitely will be doing more. We're going to jump into how do you offer a sale on here, all of the other stuff. What else? Like orders and shipping, like how do I ship from Pirate Ship with Etsy? How does it cross over? And how do you get paid? All of that stuff. I just wanted to show you, how do you even get it listed? Like, how do we even just get my foot in the door? So Etsy's completely free to start up. You can, you know, just create an account and then do listings, and then just save them as a draft. And that's what I did. I was like, okay, so I'm going to do 1 listing, 2 listings, 3 listings. I wasn't confident in opening my shop yet, because I still wanted to have product kind of saved up, because I had big dreams. I'm like, dude, I'm going to sell out. Like the minute I even open my Etsy shop, it's going to be like Kim Kardashian and just opened it, and everything's going to sell out in like seconds. Did that happen? No. Is it okay? Yes. You know, but just have patience too. Have patience, patience, patience. You have to, because you will get discouraged. You will get upset. You will like try to throw in the towel. No, don't do that. Just go in it knowing that there's like a million people on Etsy doing the same thing that you're doing. But again, you got to make your shop like pop with your flair in it. And again, it is what you put into it. So if you are, you know, doing it like me, truth be told, you know, you're not putting hours into it every single day, which I think if you are starting out, you definitely need to do. Then yes, you know, your shop may not be in the top 1,000 shops that Etsy puts out there for people to see, because it's, you know, the algorithm and everything like that, just like with Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. The algorithm is huge. That's why it's important to have descriptive words, photos, tags, all of that stuff. They do matter. So anyways, Nugget, I'm like, should I throw something at her? Hey, yes, she's chewing my favorite basket. But anyways, that is how you do a listing in a nutshell. Again, if you have questions with the listings, I will answer them. If you have any tips and tricks that I don't even know about when it comes to listings, please put it in the comments below. Sharing is caring. Spread the knowledge. Let us all learn from you as well. And if you already have an Etsy store, what works for you? Like, pass on the information, because I'm definitely passing on mine. But yes, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm going to be doing another Etsy tutorial where we're going to get into more stuff right after this. So again, thanks for just watching this tutorial. Let me know how you like it. Let me know what you didn't like about it. And of course, I will be seeing you guys again soon. By the time we're all done, we are going to be pros at Etsy. So anyways, I'm going to make this short and just say thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being a member of this community, Fixing It Together. And I will be looking for your comments and questions right after this.